$260 billion.
Yeah, it's a massive number.
I want to sit with that number for a second because I think when most people hear the phrase gaming industry, they still have this mental image of a niche hobby,
Right.
maybe playing Pac-Man or maybe a teenager in a hoodie sitting in a dark basement.
Yeah.
But $260 billion, that is the revenue generated by the global gaming industry in 2025.
It's a number that is honestly hard to visualize without a benchmark.
Mm-hmm.
But to frame it properly, that figure is bigger than the global film and music industries.
Wow.
Combined.
So wait, if you take every single box office hit, like every Marvel movie, every art house film, and add every streaming song on Spotify and Apple Music, gaming still dwarfs them.
It eats them for lunch.
Yeah.
We aren't talking about a casual pastime anymore. We are talking about the single largest entertainment sector on the planet. And for the people operating inside it, specifically the creators, it's an economy worth nearly $29 billion entirely on its own.
And that is exactly what we are unpacking today. For you listening, we aren't looking at a how-to-play guide or a walkthrough. We're doing a deep dive into a course book from Sporte Academy, which is the educational arm of Sportainment Global.
Exactly.
The text is called Content Creation for Gamers, but honestly, reading through this, it didn't feel like a gaming manual at all. It felt like a business plan for a digital media startup.
That's very much the intention. Sporte Academy operates with what they call a TRI approach. They blend academic rigor, real-world industry experience, and digital skills. Their whole goal with this material is to provide a blueprint for taking a passion and turning it into a profession.
Right.
Basically, how you go from 0 followers to a full-time career in a hyper-competitive market. Because we're talking at an audience of 3.49 billion active players globally.
Which is the dream for a lot of people. But the document starts with a pretty heavy dose of reality regarding the market itself. We mentioned the $260 billion, but I really want to dig into where that money is actually coming from.
Yeah, that's important.
Because I think the assumption is that it's all coming from $3,000 PC setups or the latest PlayStation console.
That is the common assumption, sure, but the data completely flips the script. The dominant force in gaming revenue isn't the console in your living room or the rig on your desk, it's the phone in your pocket.
Really?
Mobile gaming accounts for $92.6 billion of that total.
So nearly half the market is mobile. That changes the barrier to entry significantly, doesn't it? I mean, you don't need the massive studio setup to tap into the biggest slice of the pie.
Exactly. And it also dictates where the growth is happening. If you look at the Sporte Academy data, they point out that while North America and Europe are obviously huge markets, they're saturated.
Right. Everyone already has the gear.
Exactly. Everyone who is going to buy a console there probably already has one. The explosive growth is actually happening in emerging markets, places like South Asia, the Middle East, Africa.
I saw a specific stat in there about Pakistan that really jumped out at me, mainly because I don't think I've ever seen it cited in a traditional tech report before.
It's a perfect example of this shift. Pakistan's gaming market is growing at roughly 21.9% annually. They are projecting 45 to 50 million gamers there by 2026.
50 million. That is a massive audience that a lot of Western-centric creators might be completely just ignoring. It really suggests that if you want to grow, you might need to look outside your own backyard.
Precisely. And that brings us to the second biggest misconception, which is the who. If I ask you to picture a gamer, be honest, what stock image pops into your head?
I mean, the stereotype is super hard to shake. It's the teenage boy probably shouting at a screen, surrounded by empty energy drink cans.
Right. But the reality, the average age of a gamer is between 31 and 33. Wow. These are adults, they have jobs, they have mortgages and disposable income. And even more important for creators to understand, 48% of gamers globally are women.
48%. So it's effectively a 50-50 split.
It is. And the growth on the content creation side reflects that too. Female streamers now represent 26% of all live content creators on Twitch. So the point Sporte Academy is making here is that inclusivity isn't just a moral stance, though it obviously is that too. It is a hard business necessity.
Makes total sense.
If your content is alienating to women, or if you cultivate a boys' club atmosphere, you are voluntarily cutting your potential market in half.
You're just leaving money on the table.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
You cannot scale a business by ignoring half the population.
Okay, so the audience is huge, highly diverse, and heavily mobile first. But the number of creators is also massive. The text mentions 29 million gaming creators out there. That sounds like a fiercely competitive ocean to swim in.
It is incredibly crowded, and this is where we need to have the reality check conversation that the book brings up. The course book is very transparent about the difficulty curve. It notes that on Twitch, 72.6% of streamers generate exactly zero revenue.
Zero. Wait, so 3 out of 4 people doing this are making absolutely nothing.
Nothing. $0. And for those who do make it past that hurdle, the average time to earn your very first dollar, not a living wage, mind you, just one single dollar, is about 6.5 months.
That is a very long time to work for free. It sounds like a filter period. Like if you're just doing this because you think it's easy money or you want to be famous overnight, you're going to quit in month 3.
Exactly. It filters out the hobbyists from the professionals. You can't just hit the go live button and expect the world to show up. You need a strategy. You have to understand the ecosystem you're playing in.
Let's unpack that ecosystem then. The where. The source material breaks down the major platforms, but what I found really helpful was the metaphors they used. They assign a specific psychological role to each platform. Let's start with X, or Twitter. They call it the town square.
Right. Think about what a town square is physically. It's loud, it's highly public, and it's where the news breaks. In the gaming world, X is where you network with developers, it's where you see what the esports pros are complaining about today, and it's where you keep up with the speed of culture.
So it's not necessarily where you post your long gameplay videos, it's where you talk about the game.
It's where you build your professional presence.
Yeah.
If you aren't in the town square, you might be creating great content elsewhere, but you're invisible to the industry insiders.
Okay, then you have Discord, which they describe as the living room. I love this distinction because the vibe of a town square versus a living room is totally different. You behave differently in those spaces.
Completely. The town square is public, living room is private. Discord is where your diehard community lives. It's intimate. It requires safety and moderation. You don't perform in the living room.
Right.
You hang out. You deepen relationships there.
And if you act like you're in the town square while you're in the living room, like shouting and promoting constantly, people are going to kick you out.
They will leave. It's about reading the room. Discord is about retention, not discovery.
Then we have the video giants, YouTube and TikTok. How does Sporte Academy distinguish between those two? Because to the outsider, they both just look like video apps.
This is crucial for strategy. YouTube is the library, or the long-term asset. Think about social media feeds like Twitter or Instagram stories. They're ephemeral. You post, and 3 hours later, it's buried under a mountain of other posts. But YouTube is the world's second largest search engine.
Right, so if I make a guide on how to beat the final boss in Elden Ring, people might still be searching for that 2 years from now.
Exactly. It builds residual traffic. It's an asset that appreciates over time, whereas TikTok is the discovery engine.
The top of the funnel.
Yes, it's highly democratic. You don't need a following to go viral on TikTok. You just need good content.
Yeah.
But the trade-off is the attention span. You have literally 1 second to hook them.
1 second, that's barely a breath.
It's brutal. But if you hook them, you can funnel that massive traffic over to your YouTube library or your Twitch stream.
So the strategy here isn't to pick one platform, it's to use them all in concert. But I have to say, that sounds exhausting. How does a single person manage a town square, a living room, a library, and a discovery engine without completely burning out?
You don't create from scratch for every platform. That's the quickest path to burnout. The text heavily emphasizes a recycling strategy.
Work smarter, not harder. But walk me through a concrete example for the listener. What does that actually look like in practice?
Okay, let's say you stream for 4 hours on Twitch.
Yeah.
That is your raw material. You are live, you are interacting. Once that stream is done, you don't just leave the VOD there. You take the best 30 minutes of gameplay, maybe a specific quest or a really funny match, edit it down, and that becomes your YouTube video.
Okay, so that's the library asset sorted.
Right. Then you take the funniest 10 seconds of that YouTube video, maybe a glitch or a jump scare, add some snappy captions, and that becomes your TikTok. That's your discovery hook.
And then you post the link to the YouTube video on X the Town Square and discuss the stream with your Discord living room.
Precisely. One core effort, the stream, generates 4 different outputs. That is how you scale a one-person business. You are squeezing every drop of value out of your time.
So we have the distribution down. Now let's talk about the substance. What are we actually posting? The course book outlines this formula called the 402520-515 framework. It sounds like a nutrient breakdown on a cereal box, but for content.
It's essentially a balanced diet for your audience. And notice the biggest chunk, 40%, is entertain.
I have to ask about that. Why is entertainment the biggest slice? Shouldn't high-level gameplay or pure skill be number one?
Not anymore. Because there's always someone better than you at the game. Skill is not a unique selling point for 99% of creators. You are the differentiator.
The creator is the product.
Yes. Your personality, your humor, your reactions, that is what keeps people watching. So 40% of your content needs to be focused on fun, fails, and personality.
That makes sense. People come for the game but stay for the person, so 40% is make them laugh. Then we have 25% educate.
This ties right back to the YouTube library concept.
Yeah.
Tutorials, guides, how-to content. This is the most searchable content you can make. It brings new people into your ecosystem who are actively looking for answers. They come for the answer, but they stay for the entertainment.
Next is 20% inspire. This feels a bit more abstract. What does inspirational gaming content look like? Is it just montage music?
It's the hero's journey. It's documenting your struggle to reach a certain rank or learning a completely new character. It's about vulnerability. People want to see you succeed, sure, but they connect much deeper with your failures and your persistence. It humanizes you.
And finally, the smallest slice, 15%. Promote.
Right. This is selling merch, pushing sponsors, or asking for subs. Notice it is the smallest percentage by far.
Because nobody wants to watch a commercial channel.
Exactly. The rule here is value first. Even when you are selling, you have to do it in a way that offers value or entertainment to the viewer. You earn the right to sell by providing the other 85% of value.
Wrapping all this content together is your brand. The text talks about something called the community promise. I really liked this concept because it frames branding not as a logo or a color scheme, but as a contract.
It is an implicit agreement. When a viewer clicks your video, what are you promising them? Are you promising you will learn something new? Are you promising you will laugh? If you build a brand around high-level strategy and then suddenly switch to goofy trolling, you are breaking that promise.
And that destroys trust.
Instantly. In the creator economy, trust is your currency. Authenticity is the only thing you really own.
It also mentions visuals as part of that promise. Thumbnails, specifically.
Yes. The thumbnail is the first handshake. The rule of thumb they give is maximum 3 to 5 words. If you are writing a paragraph on your thumbnail, you've already lost. It needs to be bright, expressive, and instantly understandable on a small phone screen.
Speaking of trust and community, let's talk about the actual work of managing these people, because it's a lot of people. The text suggests that community management is a daily job, not just something you do when you feel like it.
It suggests 30 to 60 minutes every single day, replying to comments, checking the Discord, acknowledging fan art. It's like gardening. You have to water the plants every day or they wither.
But gardening also involves pulling weeds. And the internet, well, the internet has a lot of weeds. Gaming specifically has a reputation for toxicity. How does Sporte Academy suggest handling that?
They propose a 3-tier response system. It's a very structured way to deal with conflict so you don't get emotional and blow up your own career.
Walk us through the tiers. Tier 1.
Tier 1 is constructive criticism. Someone says, hey, the audio was out of sync, or I didn't like this opinion. This is valid feedback. You engage with this. You thank them. You build respect by showing you can take a critique without falling apart.
Okay. Tier 2.
Tier 2 is trolling. This is where people are just trying to get a rise out of you. They are fishing for a reaction. The advice here is strict. Do not engage.
Don't feed the trolls.
If you reply, even to argue, you have given them what they want, which is your attention. You ignore, you mute, you move on.
And Tier 3.
Tier 3 is harmful behavior. Racism, threats, harassment, hate speech. The protocol here is immediate permanent ban. No warnings, no second chances.
That feels harsh to some, maybe, but I guess it has to be to keep the space safe.
It absolutely has to be. There's a powerful quote in the text. Your community culture is defined by the worst behavior you tolerate. If you let one person spew hate speech in your chat just because they are a longtime subscriber, you are signaling to everyone else that this is a safe harbor for hate. And the good people, the 99%, they will leave.
You have to protect the culture aggressively. You are the bouncer of your own club.
Precisely.
So we've built the content, we're managing the community. Now everyone wants to know, how do we grow? The source lists collaboration as the #1 growth lever, but I assume that doesn't mean emailing the biggest streamer in the world and asking for a favor.
That is the rookie mistake. Everyone aims for the superstars. But the data suggests you should collaborate with peers who are roughly 0.5 to 2 times your size.
So lateral movement.
Yes. If you have 1,000 followers, look for someone with 500 to 2,000. You are in the same stage of the journey. You help each other grow. It's a mutual exchange of audiences. It's much more effective than shouting into the void trying to get a celebrity's attention.
Another growth tactic they mention is trend jacking, which sounds a bit opportunistic, but how does it actually work?
Think of it as surfing. When a new game drops, or there is a massive esports controversy, there is a wave of interest. You have a window of opportunity, usually 24 to 48 hours, to create content on that topic.
So speed is the competitive advantage there.
Speed is everything. If you wait a week to make a video about a breaking news story, the algorithm has already moved on. You completely missed the wave.
But how do we know if any of this is actually working? We need to talk metrics. The text makes a big distinction between vanity metrics and value metrics. What's the difference?
Vanity metrics make your ego feel good. Total followers, total views, they look great on a bio, but they don't pay the bills. You can have 1 million followers, but if nobody actually watches your videos, you have a dead channel.
So what are the value metrics? What should you be staring at in the dashboard?
Engagement rate, and specifically for YouTube, average view duration, or AVD.
Why is AVD the holy grail?
Because YouTube's goal is to keep people on YouTube. That's their entire business model. If your video keeps people watching, the algorithm says, this is sticky, let's show it to more people. The source notes you should aim for 50% retention.
50%. So if you make a 10-minute video, you need the average person to stick around for 5 minutes.
Exactly. If you can do that, the algorithm will become your best friend. It will do the promotion for you.
Okay, let's get to the harvest. Monetization. We've done the work, we've built the audience, how do we get paid? The text lists 5 main streams, but it warns that it takes time.
It takes a lot of time. And remember that timeline we mentioned earlier? Months 1 to 6, you are likely looking at $0 to $100 total.
That is the valley of death for
Yeah.
creators. That is where most people give up.
It is. But if you survive that and you are consistent, by year 2, it can become full-time viable, meaning $5,000 plus per month. But you need to diversify. You cannot rely on just one stream.
So let's run through the 5 streams. First, platform revenue.
Ads and subscriptions. YouTube takes 45% of ad money. Twitch takes 50% of subs. Kick is trying to disrupt this by only taking 5%, but for most creators, platform revenue is just the baseline. It's rarely enough to live on unless you are massive,
It's hamster caps.
often the biggest earner.
Ugh.
But the advice here is don't wait. Be proactive. Pitch brands with a media kit, and start small pitch an indie developer or a local gaming cafe. Don't aim for Red Bull on day 1. Build a portfolio of successful partnerships.
Third is donations and tips.
Direct support from the community. This actually grew by 15.4% recently, which shows fans are willing to pay for content they love directly, bypassing the ads.
Fourth, merchandise.
Walking billboards. But again, you need a brand people want to wear. Don't just slap a logo on a cheap t-shirt.
And finally, affiliate marketing.
Selling gear you actually use, like link in description for the mouse I use. It works because it's authentic. If you use it to win, your audience will want it too.
It's a complex business model. It's not just playing games. It feels like running a small conglomerate.
No, it really isn't. And that's the biggest takeaway for me from this Sporte Academy text. We are looking at a text about gaming, but the skills, they are universal.
Right. To succeed here, you need to learn video editing, graphic design, community management, data analytics, public speaking, negotiation.
Exactly. These are future-ready skills. They are teaching digital literacy disguised as entertainment. If a kid spends 2 years trying to build a Twitch channel, even if they fail to become a star, they have learned more about digital marketing and community building than they would in most entry-level corporate jobs.
That is a fascinating way to frame it. You aren't just training to be a streamer, you are training to run a digital media company. And honestly, if you decide gaming isn't for you, you can take that exact same skill set and apply it to real estate or cooking or tech reviews. The blueprint is identical.
That is why the industry is worth $260 billion. It's professional, it's high stakes, and for those who treat it like a business, it is incredibly rewarding.
So for you listening, whether you are an aspiring creator, a parent of a gamer, or just someone interested in the digital economy, I think the call to action here is to really shift your perspective. This isn't a pastime, it's a discipline.
And it's a marathon. Plan for the long haul, watch your metrics, and treat your community with respect.
Well, we have covered a massive amount of ground today, from the mobile gaming dominance to the psychology of Discord and the grind of those first 6 months. A huge thanks to the research from Sporte Academy for laying out such a clear roadmap.
It was a pleasure digging into it.
And thanks to you for listening to this deep dive. Hopefully, next time you see someone streaming, you'll see the business strategy behind the game. We'll catch you on the next one.
Goodbye, everyone.